Welcome back to the Field and Garden Podcast. Morning, folks. It's your friend Lisa Mason Ziegler, and thanks so much for joining me here today. And I had a great conversation over on Clubhouse about ideas of things to sell at holiday markets. And I thought, what better time to, take a listen to that and share it with you than right now at the beginning of December, when we might be scrounging around to either beef up what we've already prepared or to even get some ideas to do it. So let's take a listen to Jesse and I had a conversation, and then we had some listeners actually offer their information. So let's take a listen. Welcome, friends.
Hi, Lisa.
Good to hear you today.
Same to you. Hi, everybody. Welcome.
And so, Jesse, we have the replay on, right? That's what I think it says, replays on.
Yes, that's correct.
Great. All right, everybody, it is 1:00 and welcome to the Flower Farmer Show. My name is Lisa Mason Ziegler, and I'm joined here by team member Jessie Graven, and she is here to help facilitate you getting your questions answered, or even just to come up and to join the conversation. And I do want to encourage people today, if today we're talking about things to sell at the holiday markets and how to go about that. And I would also love to hear other people's ideas. So if you've been having success selling something, we'd love to hear about your experience with that. And so I will let Jesse explain how you can submit your questions and a little bit about that.
All right. Thanks, Lisa. Welcome, everyone. It's great to be here today. I'm Jessie, and I'm helping Lisa out with her Clubhouse chats. And I'm excited about this one today because I think, sometimes it helps to hear other people's ideas about what you can offer at these post-season, post fresh flower season markets. And maybe kind of put together some ideas for your own markets, either for this year or for next year. I wanted to tell you a few things first. I want to let everyone know that Lisa has her own club here on Clubhouse, if you haven't joined it yet. It's called Flower Farming. And if you look at the top of the screen there with the greenhouse, you can tap that and join her club. And what that does is notify you then the next time that she schedules a live chat. And that gives you also the opportunity to add that to your calendar if you like. A couple of other things as well. You can invite other friends of yours that are you're friended to here on Clubhouse, that you follow on Clubhouse. You can invite them into this discussion. You can do that by hitting the plus button at the bottom of the screen there. That's a ping feature, and it'll bring up all of your contacts on here, and you can just tap their image to invite them. So the other thing I wanted to bring up is that we do have the replay set to on for this discussion, which means that it'll be something you can listen to here in the Clubhouse app at a later time. And that's a brand new feature. So we're excited about that. And I also wanted to let you know that we have a couple of different ways for people to interact in these chats. First of all, we really love when people want to come up to the stage and offer their insights or ask questions, and you can do that by clicking the raised hand button at the bottom there. That lets Lisa know that you'd like to come up to the stage and talk. The other thing you can do, though, if you're not able to talk for whatever reason, but you still want to offer some feedback or ask a question, is you can send that stuff to me, and I can bring it to the stage on your behalf. So what you would do in that situation is you'd use the back channel feature to send me a message, and that is the paper airplane icon that's featured at the bottom there. If you click on that, you should you can type my name in, Jessie, and you should see my image, and you can click on that and then send me your message, and I will say it on your behalf. So thanks again to everybody for being here, and I'm looking forward to this discussion. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Jesse. You always make it so easy for people to be able to ask their questions, and I really appreciate that. So, you know, back when we were doing farmers markets, as we gradually started investigating more markets because of our success at some holiday markets that our actual farmers market that we sold all season long at began to have, because we just saw how eager people were for, you know, stuff that is just what we were offering were things that you just don't often find down at the local store. And so I was just going to talk very briefly about the different areas. And then if you guys have questions about them, I'm happy to do a deeper dive. Um, so I think the first group that we really had great success with, and I really knew nothing about them when we first started, is we always sold at the winter markets of the farmers markets, amaryllis and paper white bulbs, and we sold those in, you know, a couple of different ways. In the beginning, we really felt compelled to pot them up. I mean, we used inexpensive terracotta pots, and dressed them with a little bit of moss on the top. It's amazing how topping your containers off with a little bit of, whether it's reindeer moss or just Spanish moss, just really dresses up the bulbs. And we really saw an uptick in how quickly our containers sold that way. And we sold those containers. So we potted them up in soil, had a little tag, you know, they had the growing instructions, and we sold them really before they were just beginning to grow. If you pot up your paper whites or your amaryllis super early and get some height on them, they become really difficult to transport, not only for you, but for your end customer. So we really learned that it was easier for us and better for the consumer if we just really potted them up soon to when we were going to actually be selling them, and then dressing those containers up with, excuse me, y'all. Tucker is stealing my coat. Sorry. I'm in my office, and Tucker, of course, is here with me, and he just took my coat right off the chair. Um, so we found that potting up the bulbs soon after we received them, and then dressing up the pots. And when I mean say dressing up, I'm talking about dressing them with just a little bit of moss and sometimes even a ribbon around it. And that, I mean, people really went for that. The other way we started selling bulbs that really went well is just loose bulbs. We had organza bags available that they could purchase for a couple of bucks and fill their bag with whatever bulbs that they wanted to purchase, whether it was paper whites or amaryllis. And that really became simple too, because what sounds like a great idea before you've actually done it is doing all this extra stuff to the bulbs, potting them up and dressing them up and them having to transport them. What happens is that each year that you actually do this, you're going to start trimming what you do, because it really gets very cumbersome. So the bulbs that, you know, paper whites and amaryllis, if you're not familiar, are indoor blooming bulbs during the winter. Paper whites are super easy. Our kind of special niche with the paper whites is we sold the varieties that are called low fragrance. The number one complaint you hear from people about paper whites is that they stink, particularly the people you live with. They think it really smells like a kitty litter box. They really do have a very, very strong odor. So the low fragrance paper whites still have the fragrance, but it is not nearly as overpowering. So that was a huge piece of our sales talk, was that they don't have that fragrance. And this, I'll tell you this, that another really great, inexpensive, easy little kit to make is you can also grow paper whites in pebbles. You don't have to have soil. And you can go to, to these stores that are like $1, whether they're still a dollar store or not, I'm not sure currently as it's featured in the news, right? But to get taller, narrow vases, and they also sell pebbles very inexpensively. Put a few pebbles in the bottom, drop a paper white bulb in there, drop a stick, a long stick with a ribbon around it to help support the bulb when it grows. Very low investment. It is a super great gift for people to give kids teachers. It's unique and different, and it's really low investment. And don't put water in it, obviously, until they take it home. So that's another really great market holiday sale. And the other thing that not everybody really considers, but I think that they were a huge hit for us, and I think that they're really underused, is selling gift certificates for whatever your business is. If you're selling at a farmer's market, to sell gift certificates that can be redeemed at the market, or if you're doing bouquet subscriptions. And you can also sell both of those through social media. Um, people One of the lessons that I learned through the years we did farmers markets for 14 years. Oftentimes, the people that love the flowers the most often feel like they cannot purchase them for themselves. They feel like somebody should buy them for them. You know what I mean? It's crazy, but that's the way people feel. So by promoting that, exactly, purchase a gift certificate so that your loved one can pick up the flowers when they want it. It gives them the okay to get flowers. And if you happen to be one of my students, we even give you in the course beautiful images that you're allowed to use for marketing purposes. So you can print up a really pretty little certificate with the pictures of some flowers on it, and you can sell them for whatever amount you want. Gift certificates are a great way to drive sales at a Christmas market if you present it in a way that it's something they can give and the person realizes, printing um, a pretty flower image on it, maybe even putting that certificate in a little box. Um, all of those things just really drove our holiday sales. And I'll tell you something that was really unexpected that we always sold out of immediately at markets. You know how we always had tons of beds of lemon basil and cinnamon basil on our farm because that's the foliage we use. Well, by the time of our winter markets, obviously those beds were toasted. Well, I would go out and deliberately not mow those beds. We would cut them at ground level. They're brown and brittle pretty much. We would cut them and bunch several of them together just using regular jute, tying them tight with a bow. And we would call them fire starters, fragrant fire starters. And we would sell them, for $5 to $8 a bunch. And they would go like crazy because when people would burn them, they smelt like lemons. So, there might be other fragrant crops that are safe to burn that you could maybe do that with. And I just have a couple of more, and then I would really love to hear what you guys are doing. The other thing is dried flowers. Um, and that's dried flowers are really coming back. And as I've learned through Ellen Frost, through doing her course of how they do a big business in December of dried wreaths, and they don't specifically buy flowers to dry. All the flowers that they don't use during the entire year, everything gets dried and then they use it in their dried wreaths. Well, people will buy bunches of dried wreaths. I've learned that most recently from Sunny Meadows, Steve and Gretel. They actually make just dried bunches. People love dried petals. You know that I had a friend that actually sold, and I don't know the correct name for them. It's the little fuzzy things that are on pussy willow. I don't know the actual term. The little fuzzy buds, they were selling boxes of those buds, y'all, for $15, a little clear box of those. And I think they called them something like bunny feet or something. I mean, there's just, and people, I mean, she sold out immediately. And the last thing that I want to mention that you can really sell at winter markets is workshops on your farm. That's where we used to get all of our signups for workshops. And if you are not experienced or workshops and you're just not sure what to do, our online course by Jenny Love is making workshops work for you. It's an on-demand course, so you can buy it anytime. Jenny takes you through step by step of should you be teaching a workshop? How do you find people? How do you set up? What do you do? How to be a great teacher? How to make the experience the very best? She will tell you that workshops are the most lucrative, profitable part of her business. And, you do need to know what you're talking about. But I think more of us are qualified than we realize. People would love to come play with dried flowers in your barn. And so workshops is just another, at a very minimum, get people to sign up for your email newsletter so you can stay in touch with them about those types of things, right? Um, so those are the things. I mean, we would do more business at a winter market than we would on a summer market. Oftentimes, I mean, people are shopping with purpose at this time of the year. They're Christmas shopping, most likely. If they're not Christmas shopping, but you present something as an excellent, great gift that they would love, they will be Christmas shopping. You have to plant that seed. Um, so, does anybody have any ideas or suggestions or experiences that you would like to come up here and share? And Jesse, do you have any?
Well, I do have a comment that someone had mentioned about packaging, I believe for bulbs and that kind of thing. They'd said that Uline sells cute drawstring burlap bags that are 4 by 6 inches, and they're $27 for 100 of them. She said it makes it for easy packaging to just add a bow and a label. So that's a nice time saver if you're going to be packaging up small items, bulbs and other stuff. So I wanted to get that out there. Um, and then the other thing I was going to mention, I have a few ideas that I wanted to just put out there. I've seen. I have visited a couple of holiday markets this season so far, and one of the things I liked that I saw was ornaments made of clay. It's a special type of clay, and I can't remember the name of it, but clay with seeds embedded in them. And they
Oh,
were, yeah, they were shaped. The ones that I saw were shaped using probably a silicone mold or something into a Christmas tree shape, a pine tree shape. And they had a little bit of glitter on the front. But then they have seeds embedded inside of them. And this particular one I saw had zinnia seeds. So it's a special type of clay that you can go out and bury it after the season's over and water it in, and the seeds will grow. And I think that zinnias are a great thing to use for that. I've also seen people use wildflower mixes or like other things that are really good at reseeding themselves, like marigolds and cosmos and things like that.
that's a great idea, Jesse. And I have seen that too. I have invited two folks up, Wanda and Brooklyn, up to ask their questions. Um, but I just wanted to comment on Jesse's first. There's a lot of fun stuff like that you can actually make that can be a great addition to your holiday market. So, Wanda, what do you have a question, a comment, or a suggestion? It's good to talk to you again.
Hey, hello. Um, yes, so I have some suggestions.
Okay.
I do a lot of winter bazaars, and I would agree with you on the idea of drying flowers. I do the same thing. I dry every single flower, every single peony that I don't ship or sell. And there are so many things that you can make with dried flowers and petals. And I would like to recommend there's a really great Facebook group that you can join. It's called Flower Farmers at the Craft Table. And that Facebook group, all kinds of flower farmers share all their crafts that they're doing with their flowers, and so that's a really great Facebook group to join. One of the things that I do a lot of is there you can buy at Michael's in those stores those little ornaments that are clear plastic. They look like glass, but they're actually plastic. But filling those with I spray dried petals with glitter spray, and then fill those little clear ornaments with the petals, and they look really pretty and they're kind of sparkly. Also, just little sachet bags of potpourri, I call it, and you can go on Amazon and order all kinds of different flower scents, oils. And what I do is I take a little those little facial cloths that you use to clean your face. I cut them in quarters and I put a dab of the flower essence on that and tuck it down into the sachet bag. And then the petals absorb the smell of that flower, whichever flower scent you chose, and they smell really amazing. And another thing that's kind of funny, but if you have have your friends who are wine drinkers kind of save their wine bottles for you, the clear ones, because there are some wine bottles that have really beautiful labels with flowers on them. So I fill those with flower petals and put a scent down in there, and then I put a sign up, for the wine lover in your life, and people love to buy those, and they'll buy that and then give their friend a gift certificate, to buy a bottle of wine. But that those really sell well as well, and of course wreaths, dried flower wreaths. So if people go to my Instagram page, Fox Hollow Peonies, and go back about a month, I was at a bazaar and I did a video of my all the things I have on display at the bazaar. And so you can look at that and get some ideas. And if you have any questions at all about how I made things, just send me a message, and I'd love to give you some ideas.
Thank you, Wanda. Those are good ideas. And because as much as we like to think that our flower petals have scent, they really don't, right? So that flower oil really is what really draws people in, I would say.
Right. And I actually store all my petals in Ziploc, like my peony petals. I order peony oil scent, um, and I store all my peony petals in Ziploc bags with
Oh,
a
good
little
idea.
pad of scent, and then those petals absorb that, and people just go crazy over them. I've got a gal ordered 30 peony petal sachets from me the other day that she's
Awesome.
gonna give to all of her relatives for Christmas. So I'm like, so I got to get busy on those, but they're very popular, and yeah.
Thank you so much, Wanda. I appreciate that. All right, Brooklyn, what do you have for us today?
Good afternoon, evening, morning to everyone. Such great ideas. Thank you for hosting this room. I've been experimenting with some lavender that I grew and just kind of saved. And as I harvested, dehydrated it, and started making bath scrubs with some of the flowers, using like a dead sea salt, and then getting the essential oil just to add a little bit more fragrance to that, and adding like a jojoba oil. And it's just really a really good gift item. I had been testing it at some of the markets I was doing in the summertime, and I noticed a lot of people started buying them at the end in October for stocking stuffers. And so those were like really just kind of fun, like bath products that people enjoyed, as well as some of the other flowers. Like I had like calendula. I was dehydrating that as well and putting it in an Epsom salt mix with a little bit of fragrance oil and essential oils together. And so that's some of the things that I have been doing, kind of utilizing some of those flowers that people love and are familiar with. And but I also just wanted to throw that out there as a give, and then kind of ask if you guys use any of your flowers in different ways for body products or anything in that arena. And thank you again for letting me come up.
Oh, thank you, Brooklyn, so much for coming up. Those are good ideas. And I can speak for myself. We have never done anything like that, used our flowers in any second use. Our goal has always been to sell it fresh out of the gate. I mean, we never really had that opportunity. How about you, Jess? Did you ever try to do any type of added value products with your flowers?
Yeah, I've done the clear plastic ornaments that are filled with dried flowers and that kind of thing. Um, I have also done, well, this is maybe with dried petals and with some seeds. You can make paper and embed them in there, and just have it be either like decorative paper to sell, or have it be a card or something of that nature. I've done that kind of thing. I've made wreaths with dried flowers. But as far as like body products, or self-care products, the only thing I've really tried is like the bath salts like Brooklyn recommended, and I think that they're very nice. Especially if you like I came up with a couple of different ones, one that was more flowery and one that was more like rosemary and lavender, that kind of thing, to have a couple of different um, options. Let's see, I'm trying to think of what else. I think I think that might be the extent of things that I've tried. I love the sachet idea as well, with the additional essential oil mixed in. Um, but yeah, I don't think I have a whole lot of other ideas that I have tried myself before.
Well, thank you for that, Jesse. Just thinking about what Brooklyn just asked, while I didn't do it with my flowers. Oftentimes Suzanne and Suzanne is my sister who has traveled with me all these years when we were doing all these different programs that were often at conferences. So there were many other vendors there. We have been at conferences where there are vendors that do what Brooklyn is speaking of, about vendors that produced the main ingredients of their body products. And the one I'm thinking of is every year across from us at a Mother Earth News event that would be held in Seven Springs, Pennsylvania, was I cannot remember the name of their business, but they had bees and they sold honey. But she took it a step further and she made all of these amazing body care products out of the honey. And let me tell you, people absolutely just loved that. They loved the fact, especially the locals, how much better local honey is for you to help with your immune system. And they just kind of took that to the next very level. So I think Brooklyn has a great point that there are so many other steps that can be taken, but also that's a whole nother cup of tea, right? That's a whole nother can of worms, or however you want to say. Our main focus was always growing and selling in high production, which doesn't really allow, we didn't even dry flowers. I mean, we typically, our goal was to sell it all fresh. Um, but I think that there is definitely a market for that. And for people that, particularly that are looking to not be in high production, but to add as much variety as possible from their own crops that they're growing, I think those types of products are really, really viable, because I will tell you, from sitting at many a show and watching people, women are really drawn to those types of products, and they always want all the scents. So I would think that that would be a consumable product, meaning they'd come back for more and more. So Brooklyn, thank you so much for coming up and asking your question or offering your suggestions.
Thank you so much, and you guys have.
You too. So Jesse, do you have anything else?
Well, I wanted to just reiterate what you mentioned about the workshops aspect of it. I think that, if you, even if you don't have time to put together some products ahead of time, because that's definitely a worthwhile point. All of these products require some forethought and some preparation ahead of time, well before the holiday markets actually occur. And you may not find that you have all that time available when you're busy still growing and cutting flowers in the middle of the season. And so, one of the things you can do that you mentioned earlier that I wanted to just say again is the workshops aspect of it. I think a lot of people, I saw this on a Facebook group, I'm not sure which one here recently, but I think a lot of people, especially in the wintertime, home gardeners just get really homesick for their gardens and are interested in workshops and that are gardening and seed starting related, things like that. And I think you could even sell workshops, that happen early in the new year. You could pre-sell them for seed starting or for crop, like planting your garden or something like that. And so even if you're not doing like workshops that are holiday focused, I think you could promote workshops that might be, something that you could do like in January, February. Um,
I totally agree with you. And, after when Jenny created that course, and you'll find the course at thegardenersworkshop.com, by the way, we have an online course area, and you'll find Jenny's making workshops work for you course there. She actually created that course during the outbreak of COVID, like in the fall of the first year. And it was because people were just so hungry to embrace gardening, and people were just really eager to do those things. So she found ways to really do that safely. And of course, now we're in a little bit better position than we were then. But she really takes you through all the things you need to think about. Where are you going to park people? Do you have a restroom for people to use? I mean, it really talks about from A to Z in there. And I think that anyone that is considering it, she will make you very confident in what you're doing and how you're doing it, and then how to find the people. But selling gift certificates, or actually pre-selling those at holiday markets, is a great gift for somebody to give their loved one that loves gardening or fresh flowers. Um, so I think the sky is the limit on that. And I want to just close with one last little piece that, if any of you all follow me, you know that our last course enrollment closed last night, and that was for Steve and Gretel's course about growing cut flowers in hoop and greenhouses. And the other thing that is possible in some parts of the country to have for holiday markets is late bloomers, the heirloom mums, the kale, stock, and snaps, all of which we were seeing the houses just loaded in Ohio at Steve and Gretel's place. So there are fresh flower options, potentially for people that have structures and that learn how to plan um, and do that. So I just hope that everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. And I'm grateful for each and every one of you guys, and so grateful for our team. And we all of us have a servant's heart to really teach and help and empower other people. And we just appreciate all the platforms that y'all come to hear us and support us. And thank you so very much. Jess, do you have any closing words?
Yeah, I wanted to just mention to everyone that we do have a Facebook group that is sort of connected to this clubhouse chat, this weekly clubhouse chat that you do. And we love to get suggestions for future chats as well there. And it's called the Flower Farmer Show. And that's the name of the Facebook group. And you can go on there and request to join if you like. There's a pretty big group of folks there, so there's a lot of communication back and forth, just like quite regular questions and answers and stuff like that. But also, we love to get ideas there for what to feature on these chats. So if you're not already over there, I hope you can join us there as well.
All right, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you right here next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And remember that you can always connect with me on Instagram at 11:30 on Wednesdays for Ask a Flower Farmer, and over on Facebook from the Farm on Fridays at 6 p.m. All right, friends, till we meet again, happy Thanksgiving to all. So I hope that helped you, maybe planted some seeds of ideas. And, it's never too late to try something new. And sometimes the things that we take for granted because we have access to it, other folks that don't have a garden or don't have a farm or don't have a little bit of knowledge just think it's the greatest thing ever. So, folks, I hope that this has helped you. And remember, we have lots of great resources over at thegardenersworkshop.com. And if you're enjoying my podcast, it really helps me if you post a review on whatever podcast app you listen to this on. For every review that I get, that podcast app shows my podcast to another browser. So it really helps me, and I read every single one of them. So friends, till we meet again, ciao.